Hello, my friends. Jerry Rosa here in the Rosa Stringworks Man Cave. We got some changes, made a whole bunch of changes, in fact. I'm surprised it's working at all. And to say, do I have it all figured out yet? Not even close. I got a new microphone interface. This is, I wouldn't say it's the top of the line by any stretch, but it's in the 80 percentile, I would say, is probably where it's at. It's a Focusrite Scarlett 18i20. Anyway, that doesn't mean a whole lot other than it's got 8 microphone inputs into it. And I do not have it all figured out yet, let alone working with the DAW yet. I haven't even tried installing a DAW, which is a digital audio workstation, kind of like a gigantic mixing board is really what it amounts to, but yet in software. Anyway, because I've got this thing working, I have 2 mics this morning. You can't see the mic that's down here pointed at the guitar, but you can see this mic. And anyway, let's see what happens. This is all testing, preparing for Thursday night's concert, of course. Sarah married John in '64. And that same year he marched off to war, leaving Sarah in the valley all alone. But that would change soon after he had gone. She washed the baby's clothes in the nearby spring. It was there she lost her precious wedding ring. And feeling more alone, she longed for his return. The nights were long as her heart would yearn. And then 160 years passed into view, when her precious wedding band was found anew, just as if her soul were there for all to see. Sarah, John, and their baby. The war raged on as Sarah made her way. The baby grew more like John every day. She prayed that one day soon the war would end, and she'd see John coming round the bend. Despite the odds, John made his way home. Though weak and sick, Sarah would hang on, till the baby's daddy held him to his breast, allowing Sarah to find eternal rest. And then 160 years passed into view, when her precious wedding band was found anew, just as if her soul were there for all to see. Sarah, John, and their baby. Sarah, John, and their baby. Well, I didn't see many comments scrolling up the screen while I was doing that, so either we've completely lost everything and nobody's out there, or I guess it was coming through okay, or it wasn't coming through at all. One of the two. Well, if it was not coming through at all, I think people would have been saying something. So anyway, that's the name of that tune. This guitar was a guitar I built with just scrap parts laying around the shop. I had a whole bunch of scrap things that weren't good enough to go on a customer guitar. This top came off of about an 1890s upright piano. I didn't know it at the time, but it had all kinds of cracks down it. It seemed to be solid when I put it together, but just as soon as I got it together, it started cracking all up and down there, probably due to the stress with the sides pulling and things. The neck angle wasn't real good or something, and this bridge had to be really tall, and the bridge is pulling up a little bit. I got all kinds of problems with it. But these sides were going to go on a customer's guitar, but they developed little finish cracks and things too, so I decided not to use them. So anyway, I just threw a whole bunch of parts together and made this guitar. It's not a bad guitar, really. Just needs some TLC to bring it up to tip-top shape. It's got a little buzz on the bass E string right now. Oh well, stuff happens. I'm going to hang this back up and I'll get right back to you here. And for my own benefit, I'm going to play a mandolin tune or something just to kind of hear the difference and see how that's working too. This is my the world's finest mandolin ever built by a human mandolin. And those of you who have been around a while, you know what that means. That was just a goal when I was building it, trying to build the world's finest mandolin ever built by a human. And the reason I put human on there is because so many instruments these days are built by a machine, and really that's the truth. Let's see here. I haven't even thought of anything to play. There's a little mountain church in my thought of yesterday, where friends and family gather for the Lord. There an old-fashioned preacher taught the straight and narrow way for what few coins a congregation could afford. Dressed in all our Sunday best, sat on pews of solid oak. I remember how her voices filled the air, how Mama sounded like an angel on those high soprano notes. When the roll was called up yonder, I'll be there. Looking back now, that little mountain church house has become my life's cornerstone. It was there in that little mountain church house I first heard the word to base my life upon. At the all-day Sunday singings, we had dinners on the ground. Many were the souls that were revived, while the brothers and the sisters who'd gone on to glory land slept in peace in the maple grove nearby. Looking back now, that little mountain church house has become my life's cornerstone. It was there in that little mountain church house I first heard the word to base my life upon. I first heard the word to base my life upon. Oh, that's enough of that nonsense. That gives me an idea when I hear it back, how it sounds, and that helps me make adjustments. I got a lot of topics to get through today. I think I've got, well, I'm not even sure now. I think it's about 6 or 7 videos to get through. And wouldn't you know, my outline went away. Isn't that special? How does stuff like that happen? Oh, that's crazy. That's just nuts. Well, ain't that special? Yeah, it's completely gone. Where did it go? Here we go. Maybe I found it. Oh, come on. This isn't right. This just isn't right. I don't know where it went. Oh, I've lost my complete outline. It's just, I don't know how it was. I can't even explain this to you. It's a piece of software that it surprised me when I pulled it up. It had all my notes from down in the our previous shop talks down there, and so I went ahead and added it on there. And it was there up until we went live. Of course, there you go. Well, fortunately, I kind of have a backup here on a pad of paper, so I'll kind of use that because I got a lot to talk about. First thing is that my granddaughter Mary was contacted by Sedalia College regarding her basketball prowess. And there's an outside chance she might be going to school there, which is not bad, you know. Doesn't have to be one of the top colleges in the whole country, as long as she gets to go to college and maybe gets a little bit of help there with a basketball scholarship would just be awesome. She's going for some sort of a tryout, or, she was recommended by somebody at the school. And so anyway, that's all I know for now, and I just keep your fingers crossed that maybe she gets that. Let's see. I spent nearly 2 full days, not completely full days, but the biggest part of 2 days at JR's house working on his electric. He's remodeling his utility entry foyer area, and boy, it was a mess. It was one of those double-wide mobile homes put together there on his farm, and it was used, and the floor in that area had been going bad for a very long time. And so he had to rip out the whole floor. He's getting all new appliances and everything. And the wiring was just a zoo. It was a zoo. And I've got it straightened out now, I think. Actually, I was notified there's still a little minor problem. So I think I got to go over there after we're done and fix that. But at least I think I know how to fix that. I think. Just always something. Here's a little video clip just because I could. Guys, it's still February. In fact, it's February 22nd. And look what's about ready to bloom right here. Ain't that crazy? That's pretty dang early. And you can see they're coming up all down through here too. Gonna be a lot of them, it looks like. And I think they've already bloomed, so I haven't been back out to check on them, but those are the daffodils, I think is what you call them. At least that's what I think you call them. I don't know. I was cutting some firewood over the weekend, as I always am. I couldn't tell you how many times this weekend I cut firewood, actually. I never cut a lot at each time. It was just a small amount each time. So it was 3 or 4 different times, though, that I actually went out and cut a little bit of firewood. What I was cutting up mostly this time is slabs that were left from my sawmill, and there was a pile of them. We call it the dump. We cleaned the dump up years ago. It's not really a dump, but it's just a place where we store stuff waiting for either recycling or that needs to be burned or whatever. Well, so I threw all these slabs back there, and with the full intention of just cutting them up and burning them in my wood furnace. Well, while I was cutting those up, well, this happened. My friends, I was cutting firewood, and you can see this hawk flew up in this tree. The reason he did is where I'm pointing the camera about right now, there was a rat that ran across the yard right there, and he saw it, and he flew down toward the rat, and then he flew up in that tree, and he's been watching ever since. And the amazing thing is, he did swoop down, and he got, within a couple of feet of the rat, and then the rat went into cover, and so he flew up in the tree there. And the whole time the saw was at full blast, that's why the rat ran out. He ran out of that pile of wood. And I didn't know the hawk was watching all that time, apparently. He must have been watching up behind me or something. But I did catch him swooping down out of the corner of my eye, and then I went ahead and just kept working, and I saw him land up there, but I just kept working, and I saw the rat too. So anyway, I knew what he was after, and I just kept sawing. I figured, well, he'll fly off here. This chainsaw was just revving up, and I'm sawing stuff. You know how loud a chainsaw is, and he's not even 20 yards away, and he's watched the whole time. So then I set the chainsaw down there. You heard it idling in the background as I was doing that voiceover there. and he didn't fly off. And I went ahead and threw all that firewood in the carrier that I was using, and went back to sawing and threw more firewood. And he stayed there the whole time. Well, he was watching for that rat. he was much more interested in the rat than he was in me. I was kind of impressed that he never did fly off. Here's something else I did over the weekend. You know, I had those big walnut trees removed here in my front yard. And in fact, that's another one of those few things that I paid to have help with. Though in hindsight, I could have done that myself, but it was safer, and to have a professional come in, and because it could have possibly landed on the house. But anyway, they took them down, and I saved the big stumps that we dug out of the ground. And here's how some of that went. Well, my friends, this is one of the toughest days I've had sawing anything. It took me almost all day to saw up that piece, this piece. This piece is what's left. You can see how nice it looks. It all looks real nice. I hit this gravel pocket right here. Look at this big rock right here. This is growed inside the tree. You couldn't even see this. So that's a big rock, and there's lots of other small gravel pieces. And that big rock right there, that stopped the blade. Yeah, blades don't go through rocks. And anyway, but you can see how beautiful some of these are. Uh-oh. Well, my friends, this is one of the toughest days I've had sawing anything. It took me almost all day to saw up that piece, this piece. This piece is what's left. You can see how nice it looks. It all looks real nice. I hit this gravel pocket right here. Look at this big rock right here. This is growed inside the tree. You couldn't even see this. So that's a big rock, and there's lots of other small gravel pieces. And that big rock right there, that stopped the blade. Yeah, blades don't go through rocks. And anyway, but you can see how beautiful some of these are. That would make a beautiful gun stock right through there, wouldn't it? And this through here. And same way with this. Man, that's beautiful stuff. That's really pretty. So I might have got something good out of it, but man, it made me work for it. I'm telling you right now, that's probably the last stump I'll saw for quite a while anyway, because that was work. Sorry about that glitch. That was me, all me. I know what happened. Yeah, I thought I could move something on my screen here, and as soon as I clicked on it, well, it went to that instead of I should have known better. But anyway, and you can't restart it from where it was at. This software is not very forgiving on anything like that. If you make a mistake, you've got to pay for it. But anyway, yeah, those stumps. That was the one and only I'll probably ever mess with, because man, that was hard. I had 3 stumps. The other 2, I just took them back to the dump area there that again for recycling, and I'll probably either just split them up or saw them up for firewood. Now that's unless somebody watching this decides, hey, I don't care, I'll still take those big walnut stumps. I got 2 more. One of them's about the same size as that big one. The other one's a little smaller. Either one of them looks like they're going to have a lot of figure in it. But if somebody would want those stumps, I'll load them for you if you want to come here and get them. But otherwise, I'm going to put them in the wood furnace. So if you do want them, let me know. Send me an email, rosastringworks@gmail.com. I mean, they are pretty wood, and, it's a lot of work to cut them up, but I think what you get out of it's kind of worth it in one way, but in another way, everything that could go wrong that day, I mean, seriously did. I'm talking about everything. You can't even really imagine something that didn't go wrong. It's unbelievable. It took me all stupid day to cut up just that little bit of wood right there. And I sawed it with my resawed blades. Fortunately, the one that hit the rock was one of my resharpened blades. Fortunately, one of those that hit the rock was a resharpened blade, not a brand new one. But I'm going to give up right there and see what I can make out of that. Anyway, let's see. The next thing, you saw that I released a video on sawing that cedar and that hackberry. And every time that somebody sees me using the saw, every single time, and it's happened a million times, really, a million, it's happened, I probably got at least a couple dozen comments on this very same thing, and that is the wiggle waggle of the saw. And that the saw does this as it's going down the tracks. Yeah, and I know it does that. Obviously, I'm no dummy. I can see that. But anyway, here's a little bit of video about that topic. As I knew I would, I got comments on my sawmilling about this saw wiggle waggling back and forth. It kind of does this as it's going through the log. Well, you can see how smooth it cuts even when I get up close. So it doesn't affect anything. It just looks weird. Granted, I'm always saying there's no excuse for poor design. And that has some wiggle waggle in the design, and there's no way I can get it out of it. I've tried every kind of bracing possible. You cannot put bracing across down below because the log has to pass through there, which is the first thing everybody says. Put an X brace across the bottom down there. Well, where's the log going to go? You can't do that. So, it's the design of the raising part is really the problem. This part right here, the machine sits on this. The machine sits on these threads, and it floats on that, and there's really nothing you can do about that. That's probably why they don't make them commercially that way. This is for my own private use. It doesn't bother me one little bit, so I just wanted to clear the air that, yeah, I'm very aware that it wiggle waggles, and there's really not much I can do about it. One of the big chief factors is when dirt gets built up on there, and there is a little dirt on there now. Whenever the dirt gets built up on the rails, it definitely causes it more because that wheel stutters. So I have to keep that clean, and I'm probably going to put a better guard on this. That guard helped by 80 or 85%, but there's still about 15% that gets on there. So I'm going to put something that comes down and covers the rail even better. And I did that. I put some Gorilla tape. I just folded it up and let it flap down over that area to keep it guarded, and it's only a temporary solution unless it works, and then it's permanent. It is probably permanent. There's no need to put anything better than that on there, really. It's just something to keep the sawdust off of the track, and that's all I care about. But yeah, like I said, the poor design thing, when I say there's no excuse for a poor design, what I'm talking about is when that product hits the market, that should be fixed. Well, if I was going to put this out to the marketplace and put it out to where somebody could buy it, I'd have that fixed. I guarantee you. I wouldn't put it out with that design. I'd have to change the design or whatever. There's no excuse for a poor design, period. And that includes me. If I was going to put it out to the market, I'd fix that. So there you go. Let's see. Then, what else? Have I covered it? Just about everything here? Okay, I've got this video. I was looking on Facebook the other night. Well, actually, my wife sent it to me because I don't get on Facebook. But my wife sent me this deal, and it was on Facebook. And I clicked on it, and it had a picture. And at first glance, I thought, how did they get a picture? Because it said Newburgh, and it said Civil War finds, and it showed these pictures. And I thought, how did they get a picture of all the stuff I've been finding? And then it dawned on me it wasn't my stuff, It was a guy that's, pretty much just across the river from here. And he's got a 1861 Civil War map, and it shows they camped right along this river, right along the Little Piney. And that's where all the Civil War stuff's coming from, it sounds like. But anyway, here's a picture of his stuff and my stuff. On the left, and this camera, there's something wrong with this camera up here. I don't know what the problem is. I cannot make it work where I can put myself on the screen. It really is a mess. I tried for an hour. I don't know why. It's completely different than the one down there, even though they're basically the same camera with just a slight letter. This one has an extra letter on the end of the model number. But anyway, bottom line is The stuff on the left there is the stuff that he found, and you can see the Civil War spur. He's found the whole spur and all the different bullets, and those rivets that you see at the top, those two with the two like button things. I don't really know what those are for. I think it's something to do with either a knapsack or something to do with some part of their pack or something. And I found those too, but I couldn't find them this morning. I was going to put those in the picture. But anyway, the stuff on the right is what I found, and you can see there I found a piece of a spur, and I found that little round tin is where I think the percussion caps were kept, and then that to the right there on the top is the eagle button that I found, and he's got an eagle button in there too, and then you can see all the bullets I found and stuff, and then I found the rimfire bullets. They're those casings. Those are Fitch Van Vecht rimfire casings from the Civil War. Pretty cool stuff. It's just amazing to me that there's that much stuff. Here's some more stuff I found that are possible Civil War stuff. I'll just put it on the screen. And there you go. These are things that I'm kind of holding out that they might be Civil War. They look like they're that old. That silver tip thing, I think, could have been some kind of a cover for either for maybe a bayonet or for a sword or something. I'm just talking out loud. I have no idea. It may not have anything to do with the Civil War, but these are things I'm just wondering about. And that clasp there, that with the round circle and then the thing that goes around it there, I don't know what that is, but it sure looked like it could be something military Civil War type. And then those round balls, you can see the white patina on them. They're very old. They could possibly be Civil War. You just never know. Well, anyway, I wish I could get that camera working better for this kind of stuff. Anyway, I've also ordered a larger monitor here. You can't tell that, but this monitor is pretty tiny, and I can't fit all the stuff I need to fit on this screen anyway, and it could be that the monitor is causing some of my issues. I really don't know. But anyway, I've got a new monitor coming, and that'll be really good once that gets here, where I can fit everything on here and do a better job here with my live vlogs. I think that covers everything that I would have had on my outline had I had an outline. I don't know if I can show you. I doubt I can. Let me see if I can show you this new interface just to show you what it looks like. It's really big. It's really big. That's about all I can show you, but it's got, you can see there on that end, it's got 8 microphone ports. That's 6 on that side. I have 2 on the front here. I'm working out of the 2 on the front presently. Hopefully I didn't lose anybody by doing that. But anyway, that's a pretty cool outfit. I think it's going to work really good for the live shows and things. Well, I guess I'm just rambling, so we might as well go to the comments and see what we've got there. Boy, we have a lot of comments today. James Freestad was first, and then John Pepper, then Rod Wintler. Rod, you slipped from second to third, buddy. You're going downhill. Let's see. Then Ronald Todd from New Jersey, it looks like. And Lester Cunningham says, Jerry, Dottie H is having iron infusion today. Prayers for her. And thank you. Yeah, that's we all need to keep Dottie in the prayers there. Hope everything goes well for her. That's tough, man. You just take good health for granted, and I do that a lot. I have overall have very good health, and I do take it for granted, and I shouldn't. Moving on down, but it's my diet's the reason. If you guys would get on my diet, you'd be in really good health too. Sugar, salt, and preservatives. The more of each, the better. Anyway, moving on down. Let's see. I don't see any other question marks before we go live. Then after we went live, looks like Kenneth Ennis was the first one to comment. He says, whew, I made it. Have a great day. Okay, well, thank you. Thanks for being here. And then Wade Hampton was next. Now I'm looking for question marks. Clyde Price has some. It says, good morning, Jerry and viewers from Newfoundland, Canada. Was wondering if that hackberry board was any good to build guitars. It looks like to be beautiful grain. Yeah, it is really pretty. I didn't show it there wetted down, but when you wet it down, you can see you know how you have your grain lines, your straight little grain lines, but these have little squiggles in the grain lines. It's really neat. It's a neat looking wood. It's really cool looking. And I think it would make a great guitar back and sides. Yeah, you wouldn't want to use it for the top, but you could certainly use it for the back sides and neck. It's a heavy, dense wood. It's really heavy. Not as heavy as rosewood, but it's for a Missouri wood, it's a real heavy wood. Moving on down, Jeff Pierce says, nice job, Jerry. Okay, well, thanks. Preston Johnson, no great song. We were all so focused. No great song. It's hard. It depends where you put your punctuation. I can't tell if it's a compliment or you're cutting me down here. It says, so focused on the song. Good job. Well, thank you, Preston. I appreciate it. That's the thing about reading comments. And I'm not a good reader to begin with, so putting the punctuation in the right place or the pause or whatever makes a big difference in what a sentence can mean. Lester Cunningham, my, Jerry, great sound, superb playing and singing early this morning. Well, thank you. William Pagan, name it Frankie. Okay. Name what? That's my question. See, I lose train of thought on a lot of stuff because I go from one thing to the next, and that comment may have been about something way back there, and I don't know what it's about. So sorry. I lose context. That's my problem. Bill says the guitar sounds good in the microphone. Well, thanks. It's a good sounding guitar. I don't think it's quite as good as the first one I built, but that's a spruce top out of, like I said, an 1800s piano. I tell you, that's another thing. Just like that stump, sawing that stump, you think, well, that's a neat idea. I'll saw up that stump, get all that figure. Well, it was kind of the same thing with taking that top out of that piano. I thought, boy, that'll be great. Save that old spruce wood out of that piano. Just like the stump, it's one thing I'll never do again. I had all I wanted of that just one time. If you don't know what I'm talking about, take a piano apart and get that spruce out of there. Then you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. It is no easy job at all. Zero, none, not any. It's really hard. But it was worth it one time, I guess. It says, the world's finest mandolin sounds much brighter than the one you've been playing, the 3 or 4 vlogs. Well, I didn't have a microphone on it, and that one was not even near this mic, so it makes a huge difference. Huge difference. That's 99% of the microphone difference. Anyway, Rubbish Guitar Bloke. Thanks, Jerry. Really enjoyed your Sawmill video yesterday. Have you updated your to-do list to design something to stop the blade tension handle working loose? Well, not really. I could easily fix that. It doesn't work loose all that often. It's just that I probably didn't have it tensioned tight enough. I'll tell you what it's like. It's exactly like the tuning keys on your guitar. I've talked about this before, and it's exactly the same problem. It's exactly the same problem. People think their tuning keys are going bad when they, they'll lose pitch and they go, how come this? It's not holding tune. It's not working right. Got nothing to do with your tuning keys. What it has to do with is how you tightened it when you hit that note. You always have to tune up and tighten to the note. You never, ever tune down to the note or even tune down a little bit and then go back up a little bit. You need to go down below the note, come back up to the note, and tighten it to the note. And that's kind of the same way with that handle. What had happened is I probably tightened it and didn't keep it real firm tight on the tight stroke. And if I'd left it, like sometimes what I do is I'll tighten it up and then the handle's not where I want it, so I'll bend it back to get it flat there. And I probably did that and loosened that little bit of tension, and then that let it back off. It's the same exact thing that happens with your tuning keys. It's called backlash. It's called backlash. And there's backlash in your tuning keys. On all tuning keys have backlash. And so you never, ever tune down to a note. You always tune up to the note. And as long as you do that, your tuning keys will work. I don't care. Everybody says their tuning keys are bad, and 99.9% of them are not bad. Now, there is such a thing as a bad tuning key. I've run across a few of them, but I'm telling you, it's really rare. It's very rare, much more rare than you would ever believe that the tuning keys are the real problem. So there you go. That's not just me making something up. That's just black and white that I've been through it a million times, and I know what the problem is. So there you go. Take it for what it's worth. Moving on down. Let's see. Preston Johnson says, another great song, Jerry. Thank you. And Bruce says he likes the new sound system. Well, that's good. Preston Johnson says, one of the coolest man caves around. I tell you what, I love it. I really do. And what you can't see, and maybe I can show you, is over here. See that room there? There's it used to be a closet or something. And I'm sorry, I'm getting this all messed up. But you can see I've got a little fake fireplace there. That's what heats the room. And then I've got an 85-inch screen TV there. And I love it. I just absolutely love it. And I guess that's about where I had it. Can't tell at this point. But anyway, I'm in heaven when I'm in here. I love my little man cave room. It's just wonderful to me. It's a shame I don't have more grandkids that come in and enjoy it with me. But it's just the way it is. They're kind of already too old to care about stuff like that. They're off doing their thing, Let's see here. Gary Hayden says, good balance and tone between voice and instruments on the two mic setup. Thank you. Well, again, I really do not know how to use this thing yet. And I'm serious. It's one of those things that it's way more complicated than it really should be. And, I bet you I watched 15 to 20 videos on how to operate this thing. And every single video, I hate to be critical, but they were pitiful, just flat pitiful. Every one of them, like when you say you look up beginner's guide to using this. And I'll tell you everything you need to know how to get started. And they act like you've got a rocket ship mentality on your head, like you've been through this a million times and you already know how to fly off to space on the space shuttle. That's the way they act like it. We're showing you a different space shuttle, but you already know how to do all that. Well, I don't know how to do all that with this thing. I have no clue at all. And they all assume you already know all these things when they start telling you how to do something. And I just went from one video to the next, to the next, to the next. I didn't find one single video that was really any help at all, because they all just are, these are these techie kind of guys that already know. It's the same way with computers. If you looking for help with your computer, it's rare when you'll find somebody that can get down to your level and explain something. It's pitiful, just flat pitiful. And if I do get this figured out, you're gonna see a video that comes out that explains it with some common sense that people can understand, instead of this high-tech, super above-your-head talk. Pitiful. Just pitiful. I can't even tell you how bad it is. It's really bad. Moving on here. This thing scrolled on me a lot. I do not know where I'm at now. The mic sounds very good this morning. Well, that's mainly because I went ahead and put the foam back on it, and I'm talking directly into it instead of past it. That's the way this mic is designed. And I thought, well, I might as well just get used to doing that. I don't like it so much being right in front of my face, but it's the way it needs to be done. So there you go. David Tharp. Hi, Jerry. Do you think that hackberry would make a good tone wood for a guitar? Maybe I read that one already. I think I did. So yeah, I commented on that. Let's see. I think I've lost my place. Maybe not. Gary Hayden says, those flowers remind me of Easter lilies. When you find them in the woods, it's a sure sign there was an old homestead. Yeah. I think people do call them Easter lilies. I do think so. That's the yellow daffodil things. In fact, but the only reason I hesitate is because I think there might be a specific Easter lily. I'm not sure about that, though. But anyway, I do think people call them that because that's when they typically bloom, is around Easter time. But I think the proper name is daffodil. Not sure about that. Simon Jardine. I dug a stump out of my garden after ruining 3 chainsaw blades with stones hidden in the roots. I drilled the roots and filled the holes with diesel. It took time, but it worked. The stump just died. Yeah, it's like that one there. I mean, I spent hours. I'm not making it up. I spent hours cleaning that stump. That's, this time, but I had done it months before. I had also cleaned it really good with a pressure washer, everything. And then again, I spent at least an hour cleaning it before I put it up on the sawmill. So hours and hours on that one, just cleaning it. And I was pretty sure, and I peeled all the bark that I could peel, and I was pretty sure I got all the rocks. Well, that was growing inside the tree. I mean, you couldn't see that from the outside at all. So there you go. And I kind of figured that was going to happen, and sure enough, it did. And I just gave up after that because I had already had so many problems with that. I'm not kidding you. You can't even imagine. Everything you could think of. The winch, I don't know, just everything. It wouldn't lay on the saw correctly. It was too wide for the saw, and it was hitting. I bet I sawed 6-8 different times to get it to fit through the saw. On the height also, it was just a nightmare. It really was a nightmare. Plus, it was super, super heavy. You can't really understand how heavy that thing was. If I didn't have I could not move it. Once I got it up on top of on the saw, I could not move it by hand at all. Couldn't get it to budge. And so I had to push it with the Bobcat, and the Bobcat was the only thing around here that would have lifted it up there. It was really heavy. It was a nightmare. Like I said, I'll probably never do another stump. It was worth it one time, but I'll not do it again. Captain Bubba, was it Union or Confederate forces encamped? It was Union, yes. And everything I found, I think, has been Union up to this point. And I talked to that guy on Facebook, and I'm not going to say his name because I don't think he really wants it out. And he doesn't want any information about his map out either because he doesn't want people to know where he's hunting, And anyway, he said he'd let me see the map, but, whether he will or not, I don't know. But anyway, everything he said he found was all Union also. Nancy Milwaukee, I've seen the name a million times, and I still can't pronounce it. Milwaukee, I'm going to say. I hope that's right. At my house, at my workplace, people in the office really like to use 2 monitors, even for spreadsheets. Yeah, 2 monitors is great. I've had that before also, but I'm just going to get one large wide screen here, and then I can set up everything I want on one screen. It's a little less cumbersome, a little less. And I don't have a lot of room in here. It may look bigger. It looks fairly big, but it's not that big. It'll be tight when we get all the band in here, but we'll make it work. Let's see. Captain Bubba, go to dual monitor system. This will allow larger desktop. Yeah, I don't want to do the dual monitor. I don't have the room for it. But one large monitor will fit in here really good. I think I ordered a 30 or 32 inch, something like that. And it's all you need. It works great. With the newer, wider screen monitors and the high resolution, you can really do a lot on one monitor. That's what I have down there, but it's even bigger. I think it's a 36. I'm not really sure what it is, but it's pretty big. And it makes it easy to edit videos on because you can put so much stuff up on the screen. Kathy Voles, Jerry, on your wood cutting of hackberry, you said it could be used for a word I didn't understand. Sounded like CH. Well, I don't know for sure. The question was, could it be used for a guitar? And yes, it could be used for a guitar, but it would have to be the back and sides. I don't think you would want to use it for the top. That's all I remember saying. Sorry. Cap and Bubba, hackberry may be the Resophonic build. You might have an idea there. You might have a good idea there. Yeah, that's a possibility. That hadn't even occurred to me. You might be right. We might do that. Let's see here. William Pagan, the pieced guitar, name it Frankie. Okay, there you go. Okay, now I know what you're talking about. See, that's what I'm saying. I lose context. There's too many subjects and too much going on, and I've answered too many questions. And so anytime you put something out there like that, if you put it out vague, it's just going to be a 50-50 on whether I'm getting it or not. You kind of have to put it in context. But thank you for clearing that up. And Frankie, yeah? I was actually thinking more like Johnny because it's the Man in Black, you know. But I'm not sure why you're saying Frankie. Tell me that. Now, why is Frankie the idea behind it? Must have something to do with what I said about it. I can't think of what that would be, though. Wade Hampton. I'm slow, William, so just understand. Sometimes I have so many thoughts going in my head, they just get all scrambled together. Wade Hampton. Jerry, I used to take good health as for granted until I broke my neck last year. I'm still in a wheelchair, but I am recovering with some deficit in my left arm. Well, God bless you, Wade. I hope everything goes good for you on that. Yeah, that's not good. That's not good. We'll say an extra prayer for you there, Wade. Hope everything works out. Michael Ragusa, Jerry, you sound real good this morning. Well, thank you. That's good to hear. Ronald Todd, cutting and turning tree stumps are recipe for disaster. Kill saw blades and turning chisels. Yeah, you're right. Tree stumps are bad. You know what's amazingly bad too is the cedar, believe it or not. It has some kind of a silica in the wood or something, and it dulls saws quicker than you would think. Even though it's a soft wood, it's very soft, but it's got some kind of silica in it, and it actually dulls saw blades quicker than you would expect. John Robert Snyder, Jerry loves seeing your finds. We camp in Gettysburg several times through the summer. I like riding my bike up to Little Round Top, looking across the field. It's chilling. Yeah, I would think. Golly, my hat's off to all the brave people that have fought in the wars. I'm telling you, because I'm not so sure I'm that guy. I'm not so sure I'm that brave. R.C. Tomslin. Sorry, Jerry, having finger check problems today. Should I try to bend this Stumac torsion rod in this mandolin I'm building? Well, if it's just if it's just a single bar rod, I like to put them in with an underbow in it like that. And I fill the gaps. I fill on top of it. I fill underneath it so that it's, even though it's a bent rod, and I'm exaggerating, but it's a bent rod, I try to fill the whole thing full so there's no air, if you will. And then when you tighten it, the rod wants to straighten, because it's underbowed, and as you tighten it, it straightens, and that's what lifts the center of the neck. Now, if it's just a single rod, then yes, I would say so. Now, if it's one of those, it's square, and it's got the rod down through the square, it's got that somehow built in. I don't know how they did it, but that's supposedly built into the rod, I don't know. So it's hard to answer your question, but if it's just a single bar stock or single rod, and you tighten it, I would say, yeah, you probably do want to put a slight underbow in it. At least I would. Moving on down. D.E. Good morning, Jerry. I showed up a few minutes late. Did you do a commute to work video? Not today, I didn't, because I didn't commute anywhere. I sleep in that chair. I cannot lay down, so I have to sit up to sleep. And so I just got out and walked over here. A little more to it than that. But actually, I've already been down to the shop once. I've been out filling up the wood furnace twice. So there you go. It was like 80 degrees yesterday here. I'm serious. It was over 80. And it was like, right at 30 this morning here. So that's like 50-degree difference. Nuts. Just nuts. Moving on down. Jeff Purist, the early yellow flowers are jonquils. Okay. I've heard that term also. So I don't know what I know. A daffodil, you started to say, and then it ends there. So I don't know what that means. Jonquils, a daffodil, or maybe they're one and the same. I don't know. I've heard that term, though, jonquils. Larry Fisher, she means Chikaturi. Well, I don't know who the she is in that case, but I don't know what Chikaturi is either, whatever that word is. I'm probably pronouncing that entirely wrong. Probably has a totally different sound. Charcuterie. That's I did really pronounce that wrong, didn't I? Charcuterie. I didn't know that's how you spelled it. Oh, that's funny. Anyway. That's really funny. Well, anyway, that's the word. Charcuterie boards. Yes. There you go. Now you got it. Thanks for straightening me out there, guys. Blackjack Guitar. Jerry, on Caddy Vold's question. Yeah, okay. Cutting boards. Yep, okay. Now we're straightened out now, I think. Yeah, so if you don't know what a charcuterie board is, because I didn't till my daughter started talking about it, let's make charcuterie out of those. I'm going, what the heck are you talking about? I'd never heard anything like a cutting board called a charcuterie or whatever. I think it's another one of these modern things that people just made up because they could. But anyway, that's what, and also on the walnut, that could easily be turned into charcuterie also. Anyway, John Warren, has your granddaughter decided what she will major in? No, I don't think so. I don't think so. She's a straight A student, though. I mean, like straight A's. I don't think there's any B's out there. It's amazing. But pretty much every one of my grandkids are. Leighton, maybe not so much. Leighton's the last one, and he's a sports nut, man. I'm seriously telling that kid is eat up with sports like you can't imagine. You can't imagine. David Lane, hackberry is fairly common among electric guitars. Oh, yeah? I didn't know that. Chuck Heidbreder, definitely sand and cedar. I've cut in low light. and you can see sparks on the cedar. Well, you can definitely see the sparks on the hedge apple. I know that for sure. I don't know about cedar. I feel like I've cut cedar in the dark, and I don't remember seeing sparks, but wouldn't surprise me because I know it's got silica in it. Kathy Voles, thank you, Larry Ronald, and Blackjack Guitar. Now I understand. Would be beautiful for a cutting board. Yes. Well, sorry, Kathy, I just didn't know. You know me. I move on from one thing to the next, and I couldn't remember that I had said that word. Yeah. Okay, moving on down. And somebody else was saying those flowers are called snowdrops, if I'm not mistaken, at least over here in the Netherlands. Oh, I'll be darned. Yeah, I've never heard it called that. At least over here, I've never heard it called that. Harry, I couldn't pronounce that last name. Sorry, Harry. Have a new Gibson Hummingbird. It is delivered with a huge moisture condition package somewhere in, I'm not a very good reader. Somewhere I learned that one should replace it with a new package every 3 or 4 months. Costs about $30. Now, is that is it to moisturize it or to suck the moisture out, the packet? Let me just explain it this way. Get the packet out of your guitar and never put it back in there. Do what you want. I just told you. The packets, when those things burst, especially the humidifying packets, when those burst, you will hate it. I'm telling you, it will ruin your guitar. Or it certainly has the potential to nearly ruin your guitar. It will soak through the wood, and it will make the finish on the outside look bad even. Get rid of those packets. All chemical humidifiers, throw them away. I'm telling you right now, don't ever buy one. Get rid of them, throw them away. Do what you want. It's your guitar. I'm just telling you what I would do. If you insist on humidifying it, use a regular water type humidifier. And I say you don't need to humidify them at all unless you're in extreme dry climate. And even then, I would say minimal. Minimal. Too much humidity is far worse than too little. I know that for black and white certainty. But the chemical ones, throw them away. Do what you want. It's your guitar. William Pagan, Frankenstein made from parts. Thus, the guitar is Frankie. Oh, yeah, that makes sense. Duh. Good idea. Well, that's a good idea, too. Yeah, I hadn't thought of it that way. See, I got too much on my brain. I'm not out here thinking these random thoughts, I guess. Rubbish guitar bloke. Or maybe that's my problem. I'm too many random thoughts. That's my problem. Rubbish guitar bloke. Also new to me, a charcuterie board is a tray that includes cured meats, cheeses, and variety of sweet and savory bites, as well as including miniature pickles and olives and all that. Yeah, pretty much the only reason to have a charcuterie board would be to put sugar, salt, and preservatives on it if you were serving me. No, I do like cheese. I like nuts. But most of the rest of the stuff you said there, I like meat, nuts, and cheese. But anything else, you could leave it off of there. Let's see. Blackjack guitar. Damp is good way to... and it's humidify, safe for all guitars. Yeah, slightly damp. Yeah, I wouldn't. Yeah, you don't need a lot of humidity in a guitar. I'm telling you right now, you just don't need it. Not unless you're, in a really super extreme place. If you keep it in the place you like to be, your guitar will be fine. I'm telling you. Those humidifiers, it was a marketing gimmick, and they started it, and it's just something that caught on, and it became the law that you had to humidify every guitar. None of them were humidified before those things came out, and they all survived somehow. Strange how that happened, how they were able to survive. And I still worked on old guitars like that had never been humidified, and they were just fine. So there's that. Let's see. All this charcuterie talk is making me hungry. I don't know. Charcuterie is just such a weird word. It doesn't make... I guess it's just all in context, but it sure doesn't do it for me. Why can't you just call it a cutting board? Or why can't you just call it a serving board? Anyway, whatever. Guess that wouldn't be as hip. Did you have to rechink the logs in the man cave? How old is the original log cabin? This original log cabin was built in the 30s, I think. That's what I understand. And yeah, we did rechink all this. In fact, it was so bad that I tore out most of it, and then we basically just put in a wire mesh in there, and then just put some plaster in it, basically is what it amounts to. And the plaster we used was the tile grout, the white tile grout that you use on tile. That's what we used. It seemed to work really good. Okay, Blackjack Guitar says the product is called Damp It. Okay. Yeah, when that came up a minute ago, there's this little thing down on the right corner of this screen, and it blocks out some of the comments. So if I'm reading them when they first pop up, I can't read the whole comment. Charlie Rostron, I think it's French makes food sound more fancy. Yeah, I guess. I guess it's lost on me because food's not important to me. I don't think food's of any significance. I just eat it to stay alive, and that's pretty much it. I don't really think food is all that great. It's kind of weird. Yet I can't lose any weight. I guess it's all the sugar, salt, and preservatives I eat. David Tharp, 5 major food groups, and it's blocking out something. I can't see the one. It's the first one that you got there. I can't see, but it says sugar, salt, caffeine, and preservatives. Yeah, well, the caffeine makes me sleepy. I don't know what the first one was. Oh, fat. I can sort of see it now. It's kind of, anyway. Yeah, well, I like all those things. Yeah, every one of those is good for me. Guys, I guess that's going to be it. Thank you for tuning in this morning. I appreciate you coming along, and we will see you tomorrow with something else.